right, so today we are taking a look at lesson 12. Lesson 12 is going to tell us all about sprite movement. Remember, our sprites are our objects, right? So these are like little the pictures that we can import in. We are going to get these things to move, and we're not just going to get them to move by vibrating or to randomly appear. We want to be able to control their motion in a vertical and a y axis or in the horizontal in the x-axis. Obviously, we're going to need some new code for that. So bubble number 1 is just basically kind of a restating of that. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to control sprite movements using a construct called counter pattern, which incrementally changes a sprite's property. After brainstorming different ways that they can use the animation sprites by controlling their properties, students will explore the counter pattern in Code Studio, using the counter pattern to create various types of sprite movement. Specifically, we are going to be looking at horizontal and vertical motion. All right, so this is the pattern of the most important ones of all time in programming. And we see that x equals x plus 1. It is used to increase the value of a variable by 1. We sometimes call it the counter pattern, since it can be used to make a variable that counts up. You will use this pattern a lot, especially within the draw loop. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so do this. This program creates a variable counter and then uses a counter pattern to make it count up. When you run the program, what do you think you will see on the screen? Read the program, run the program, discuss with a neighbor. Awesome. So let's take a quick look at our code. All right, it has background white, text size is counter. The text counter goes from 0 to 400, and the counter equals counter plus 1. What do we think is going to happen when we run this program? Anybody? Anybody at all?
Don't know.
No idea. Awesome. So if you had to have
The
it,
word counter at the bottom left.
So the word counter is gonna be on the bottom left, and then what do you think is gonna happen to it? Because again, it's in a draw loop. So it's gonna make a background white, text size, and then counter plus 1. It's gonna keep going through the draw loop. When it gets to the end of the loop, it goes back to the top. So what's happening to it, do we think?
It's looping. It's like a boomerang. It keep on going on.
It's like a boomerang. All right, cool. It keeps going. All right, that works. All right, so that is our prediction. We think it's kind of like a boomerang. We think it's going to kind of keep going. Let's see what actually happens. Huh.
No, I ain't see that coming.
Fair enough. So there's two things happening right here. What did we see happening?
It was getting larger.
So the text itself is getting bigger, but what's also happening?
Number increasing.
The number's increasing. All right, cool. So we have something called a counter. So maybe that's what the text is. I'm not sure. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the numbers are going up and up and up and up. All right, cool. That is kind of nifty. That kind of reminds me of, dare I say it, keeping a score in a video game. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, elbow, elbow. All right. Yeah. All the cool kids want to work. All right, so we are going to look at animating with sprites. And again, this is bubble number 3. You can return to it anytime you want, as with all of our videos.
You can animate with sprites too. To do this, you'll need to update their properties inside the draw loop using the counter pattern. For example, this program creates a sprite called MySprite. Then, inside the draw loop, it uses the counter pattern to increase the sprite's X position by 1 in each frame. This makes the sprite move smoothly across the screen. Adding a second sprite to a program is easy. You just use the create sprite command again. This program animates 2 sprites called Sprite 1 and Sprite 2. Sprite 1 uses the counter pattern to move across the screen by adding 1 to its X property. Sprite 2 moves down by adding 1 to the Y property on each tick of the draw loop. These sprites have lots of other properties, but our program only needs to deal with the ones that are changing. Sprites already help you write more readable programs, and they are going to be extremely helpful and powerful tools for making fun games and animations. So stay tuned.
Oh, sorry. Did not mean to stop sharing my screen. I just wanted to turn the video off. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we now can get our sprites to move, which is kind of exciting because up until this point, we really haven't had a whole lot of control of the movement of our sprites, which is okay, but that's all right. We can always are looking to do more. As always, when you're done with the video, go ahead and make sure you hit the continue. Even though my computer is super slow today. All right, I am going to walk you guys through bubbles 4 and 5, and then I'm going to leave you to work out 6 and 7 on your own today. All right, so look at the sprite movement. Here we go. Using the counter pattern, you can write programs that animate sprites smoothly. Adding or removing from a sprite's X or Y property in the draw loop can make your sprite move just a little bit at a time every time it is redrawn. Do this. Read the code below to makes the jet go up the screen. Add the code so that it makes the jet go, so that the plane moves to the right as seen in the sample image. So over here we have the jet moving up and the plane moving across. Remember, vertical is your Y direction, horizontal across is your X direction. All right, so let's see what this program is already doing because I am not even sure what it's going to do. I personally always like to turn on my grid. All right, so I'm going to hit run. And my plane is standing still, but the jet is moving upward. The cool thing is I'll be able to use that jet code to help me fix my plane code because that's what it wants me to do. It wants me to move my plane as well. All right, so move the jet up. So now I have some comments in here that helps me to know where I'm supposed to be working. So it says, move the plane over, add your code here. Awesome. So I can see for the jet, I have inside the draw loop, I have jet equals jet jet y minus 3. So I'm changing the y position of the jet. So the first thing I need to do is to call up my variable right here. And I want to change my plane's X position. Because again, if I'm looking at my instructions, the plane is moving in the X direction. It's going across. That is X direction. So I'm going to go into my sprites. The sprite X, drop that right there, equals, I'm going to need my math. And now I have some extra options. I have a plus, I have a minus, I have a multiplier, and I have a divider. And I want it to go across, and I know that that is a positive direction, so I'm going to be adding. And again, What am I adding? I am adding 1 to my sprite's X location. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oops, there's an error. Can somebody figure out what I did wrong? It's telling me that I have an error on my line number 12. Can somebody tell me what I did wrong? Anybody? Look at line 12 and see if you can figure out my mistake. Anyone?
I don't see a mistake.
Look at the name of my sprite, where I called it up in line 12 and what I named it up on line 3. What's the problem?
Look like it's spelled with an A.
Hmm?
Look like it's spelled with an A.
Looks like it's spelled with an A.
Oh
Okay.
no, never mind. No, it's spelled with this. It looked weird on my computer.
Okay, what did it, look at line 3 of my code, guys. What is the name of the plain sprite? Did I name it sprite or did I name it something else?
It's called VAR.
It's what's in the white box. What did I call the variable?
Plain. Yeah, plain.
Plain. Okay, but what am I calling it down here on line 12?
Sprite.
That's not, they don't match. Remember, whatever you call your sprite, that is what you have to call up inside the program. So I'm going to change the word sprite down here, the word plain. I'm going to change the word here to plain as well. Just like this one says jet, that one's called jet. Now my plain matches plain. And reset and run. And there it is. Now it seems to be moving kind of slow. I mean, the jet's already gone. How would we get this plane to move just a little bit faster, do you guys think?
Put the number 3.
Maybe put the number 3. Okay. So let's try that. So it seems like if I want it to go faster, maybe my number needs to be bigger, right? So if I want it to go slower, my number gets smaller. Let's see if that is true. Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, so a bigger number means faster movement. Again, what we're telling the computer right now is every time I draw this draw loop, I want to add 3 to my X position. And that's why every time it gets drawn, it's just slightly over. Okay? So that is great, bubble number 4, ladies and gentlemen. All right, bubble number 5. Bubble number 5 says if adding a sprite's X coordinate makes it move to the right, how do we get things to move to the left? Because again, if we're doing a video game, we're going to want things to be able to move in either direction. All right, so it says, make your program animate like the image on the right. Update the fly's X position inside the draw loop so that each frame the fly is drawn a little bit further to the left. Tip. You can make your sprites move faster by adding or subtracting larger numbers. The fly in our example moves about twice as fast as the plane in the last level. Okay, so they gave us a hint there. I always like to turn on my grid. That's just like my personal habit. I want to see what my fly does right now. Okay, my fly is just sitting there. He's not doing anything. Kind of boring. All right, cool. So we need to get him to move across the screen to the left. So let's see how we're going to do this. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to create my variable in there. Just like before, I want to change my X location for my sprite. So my sprite's X location is equal to, in my math, I am going to subtract. Now again, minus is to the left. Positive is to the right for the X location. Oh, excuse me, just like it is in math class. So my sprite's X location will be. And then it said it was twice as fast. And we said 3 in the last one. So I'm going to go with 6 because twice 3 is 6. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and reset and run this program. And I have an error. Can somebody tell me what the error is? Look at line 8 and tell me what my problem is, people. Anybody?
What'd you say?
Take a look at line 8 and tell me why I have a problem with the program. Why is it not running? I can't look at chats right now. Somebody I know put something in the chat, but I can't pull up a chat while I'm sharing my screen. Can somebody tell me what the problem with line 8 of my code is?
Change sprite to fly.
You need to change the word sprite to fly. Remember, guys.
I was just about to say that.
Well, then you're both right. Whatever you are calling your sprites is the name you have to use. So if the program doesn't run, the very first thing you check is, did I name my sprite correctly? All right, so now I have fly x minus 6. All right, now let's try it. And there goes my fly. Wah, wah, wah. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I have worked through bubbles 1 through 5. You have 6 and 7 to do on your own. Just as soon as this video renders, I will add it to your assignment, so you can see what the assignment is going to be doing here. I'll give you a hint. You will be, for something to move diagonally, you have to change both the X and the Y inside the draw loop. Just FYI. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no questions,